as a Spanish qualified flight attendant. She also has been a licensed realtor in California, Hawaii, and Florida, and a real estate investor. She married James Hansberger. We welcome you tonight too, James. And moved to Chicago, Illinois. They have a son, Thomas, who is 28 years old and a PhD student at Marquette University, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Amapola and her husband, Jim, are members of the Aloma Baptist Church in Winter Park, Florida. Amapola became an activist and joined the Republican Party to campaign for Mitt Romney. She is a member of the Suburban Republican Women's Club Federated, Orlando Republican Women's Network, ACT for America, and Bear Witness Central. She attends various tea parties, and she is the founder and the president of Legal Immigrants for America, founded in November 2014. Please give a warm welcome to Amapola Hansberger.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for coming. I want to first of all introduce my husband Jim and our executive director for LIFA, which is Chris Katz. Now my husband passed this form around, and we want to definitely invite you to come and hear Pastor Rafael Cruz. He is wonderful, unforgettable. He's just so wonderful, such a patriot. He's the father of Ted Cruz. You won't regret it if you can come. It's very worth it. In the back of the card, you will find the 3 events. 2 of them are free at Aloma Church, and one of them we have to charge for the meal, $25 at Tuscaloosa Country Club at 1 p.m. Now about myself. I'm a born-again Christian, lover of Israel, and a proud citizen of the most amazing country in the world, the United States of America. Amen. From my perspective, our country has been exceptional from its founding. The people of the United States are truly the kindest people in the world. 90% of us, Pan American flight attendants, were foreign born. That's because you needed 2 or 3 languages fluently in order to be hired. But Pan Am was as American as apple pie, and they went to great pains to train us to convey a message of service, kindness, and love of neighbor. Whenever something terrible happened around the world, Pan Am would be carrying medicine, food, clothing, etc. to help the people in distress, no matter where. True to our Christian traditions, even non-Christians would go sacrifice their time to come to the aid of the suffering, doctors, nurses, soldiers, etc. Sadly, today the kindness of the American people is not only taken for granted, abused, but demanded by our government and those who are on the receiving end. When I came to America, I was 18 years old. I came legally to learn English with 2 other sisters. In order to help our parents with the expense, we decided we needed to work in America, and that necessitated the residency status. But when we came, we found America the Beautiful, and we never went back. In 1979, the Russians invaded Nicaragua and helped the Sandinistas win the war. My parents, who lived there, lost all of their assets. The Sandinistas just helped themselves to the real estate. My parents' savings, worthless. The currency lost all of its value. Because of my ability to get on a Pan Am airplane and go anywhere in the system on my own time, I visited them as often as I could. Most of the time, I'd be the only passenger to the plane in Managua. The reason for Pan Am even stopping there was the delivery of international mail. Other passengers, older and wiser than me, would try to persuade me not to get off. But I love my parents, and when you're young, you feel invincible. The Lord must have had many angels look after me. It was really, really dangerous. It is because of that experience that I am here today. I lost the country, and I don't want to lose another one. Our process of immigration in those days was rigorous, as it should be today. You went to the U.S. Embassy to get papers to fill out and instructions to follow. You needed to go through a complete health check. They found I needed to get my tonsils out, so I did. The CIA looked into your parents, your ancestors' background, finances, etc. We also had to sign that we would not be a burden to the American taxpayer. And we waited patiently. In the 60s, when I came, the United States had quotas. To be given the residency status to the United States of America was an immense privilege. It meant you had been found worthy. It filled you with pride, with gratitude, with joy. It motivated you to be the best that you could be. Learn English, adapt, work hard, and be responsible. The immigration process worked perfectly, allowing only those people into America that would be beneficial to the society. Immigrants such as Albert Einstein, Federico Fermi, Bob Hope, Ayn Rand, Pastor Rafael Cruz are examples. Who can understand why politicians on both sides of the aisle today reject those good policies and immigration laws? Those laws are not broken. They just need to be enforced. How is it possible that instead of deporting criminal, illegal aliens, the government forgives them of their crimes and releases them, free to go to a sanctuary city to continue their lives of crime? Kate Steinle is only one example. And how is it possible that Kim Davis, that clerk of court in Kentucky, goes to jail for adhering to her Christian principles? The Mexicans are shown more tolerance than the American Christian today. Our founding fathers would be turning on their graves. LIFA, or Legal Immigrants for America, is a non-profit Christian organization. The illegals have had plenty of representation from La Raza, the Hispanic Caucus, Univision, etc., while the decent, hard-working legal immigrant from all over the world had none. LIFA's birth was a necessity. We love the United States of America, and we want to do whatever it takes to preserve it. I was in Nicaragua a few weeks ago. Interestingly, it is now full of American citizens or expats. Many Nicaraguans that came to the U.S. during the revolution worked hard, raised families, became U.S. citizens, but find it more attractive to spend their final years in Nicaragua than in the U.S. Although many of us didn't get a real estate back, communist leader Daniel Ortega give the citizens the freedom to worship and be true to their faith. The expats say they fear those freedoms are being lost in our country. Congress needs to hear that. Nicaragua has zero illegal immigration. Their system is foolproof. If you were born in Nicaragua and prove it by showing your birth certificate, you will get an ID number. They call that a cédula. Only natural-born citizens and legalized residents have one. Without it, you can't buy a car, you can't buy a home, send your children to school, open a checking account. You can do nothing. Other countries have other laws to keep invaders out. Mexico is very tough on illegal immigration. Democrats have done a good job in purposely blurring the differences between the legal and illegal immigrants. Because of that, they have achieved tremendous benefits for the illegal aliens. Suddenly, we find that being an American or naturalized citizen is a disadvantage. We have to protest that. When it comes to the Hispanic population, it is a lie that all Hispanics, legal or not, are proponents of illegal immigration. It is also a lie that for candidates to win the presidency, they need to give preferential treatment to the illegal aliens. We are Americans, no different than the Ellis Island immigrants. The only legal immigrant that would defend the legal immigration are the anchor babies and their families. The statistics show 40% of Hispanic legal immigrants are in favor of deporting the illegal aliens. Thank you, Trump. That criminal aliens should be deported immediately. Even the word immigrant has been hijacked by the left when referring to the invaders that crossed the border. Unless you have gone through the process above, you should not be considered an immigrant, but a foreigner or alien, a trespasser that is transgressing a rule of law and also God's law. Read Romans 13:1-7 and Acts 5:29. We are to obey governments unless their laws go against God's laws. We realize that it is our government's fault. Few could resist the temptation to cross the border ready to have a baby and receive free hospitalization, instant citizenship for the anchor baby, a baby eligible to receive Medicaid, food stamps, rent subsidy, and other benefits. Their older siblings to receive free education, even if they are illegal. All to receive in-state tuition when applying for universities, and eligibility to receive scholarships in those institutions ahead of Americans. Are these benefits ever offered to legal immigrants or natural-born citizens? I ask you. No. In response to that insanity, we have businesses that have organized in California. They charge thousands of dollars to fly wealthy, pregnant women from China, the Middle East, South and Central America to the United States so they can have their anchor babies. We have to protest, unite and protest. Congress needs to stop this betrayal. This regime is so anti-American and anti-Christian that we, legal immigrants, feel our country is under a great threat, especially Christians. And it has been deliberate. Obama's fundamental transformation is what it's all about. They have set a trap, and Christianity is now under attack. Not to speak of how many car-carrying communists have infiltrated our government, per Trevor Loudon, whom you saw tonight. The Communist Manifesto, Rules for Radicals, and the Cloward-Piven Way to Destroy America are the manuals this regime has been following to the letter. By the way, Cloward and Piven were Obama's professors at Columbia. Then we have the new American, who is flown from the Middle East and placed strategically throughout the United States. They are given political asylum. Most people won't notice it until it's too late, and they have propagated to large uncontrollable numbers and start to kill us. In July, my husband and I found ourselves in the midst of one of these receptions. While taking a walk in downtown Boise, Idaho, we saw balloons, banners, and bleachers. We asked the man about it. He told us he worked for the United Nations. The festivities were prepared to receive the new American. They would get a stipends and other benefits to help them adapt to their new country. Ladies and gentlemen, do Muslims adapt? No. Have they adapted in Europe? No. We came back about an hour later, and the place was now full of people. The women in their hijab. You know, no persecuted Christians could be in that bunch. We asked our relatives if they knew anything about it. They had no idea what was happening in their own community. It's imperative that we unite and defend our country. We have to prevent our future generations from needing to flee their homes to escape death from Muslims. We see this happening in the Middle East, and it could happen here. We need to awaken and teach Americans about Islam. If any Islamist that you meet is nice, he will be subjected to the same treatment as we will be subjected to. The Quran is clear. It asks its followers to kill the infidels wherever you find them, which are Christians, Jews, Buddhists, anyone, even atheists, if they refuse to convert. The next president will have incredible obstacles and a huge battle to fight against the Socialist Democrats and the established GOP. From last night's presidential debate, we could discern that we have a few qualified candidates. The nominee should be one that endorses closing the border, deportation of the criminal illegals, enforcement of our immigration laws, defunding of sanctuary cities, stopping the preferential treatment towards illegals, Muslims, and interpret the 14th Amendment the right way. No more anchor babies. Stopping phony refugee immigration from the Middle East unless it is persecuted Christians that are coming. Implement E-Verify. defend our First and Second Amendment rights, and most importantly, stop illegals from voting. Life has a big job to do. We want to grow and make a difference. We thank the Tea Party for the support you have given us. The encouragement is greatly appreciated. There is hope as long as we exist, unite, and persevere in this fight. We thank Donald Trump for his courage in bringing up this and other important issues to the forefront. We thank Senator Ted Cruz for being the only one in Congress with the guts to tell the truth, calling the Senate Majority Leader a liar when he did lie.
A lot of times.
Yes, a lot of times. Thanks to Ben Carson for speaking about the crisis all of this caused in the Black community. The next election is by far the most important of our lifetime, the most crucial for our children and grandchildren. Let us remind our young conservatives to go register now so they can vote. Keep an eye on your seniors and mentally handicapped, that a Democrat doesn't come to the home, have them put an X in a registration to vote, and then vote for him via an absentee ballot. I've seen this. Blind people should refuse to vote in the George Soros computer. It's programmed to accept that information, stay blank, and when you're gone, the Democrat vote will be filled in. You won't even notice. It happened to my blind sister and myself. Life is in the process of becoming a 501c3 organization, so we cannot promote a particular candidate. But our website, golifa.com, will have speeches of candidates and articles that will reflect their position on important issues so you can decide. Please join LIFA by signing your name in the signing sheet posted on one of the tables or by going to golifa.com. If you can donate, we would appreciate it very much. So far, we haven't had a big donor. We're waiting for that. Maybe Donald Trump will do it. Dream on. But we thank you very much. God bless you, and may God bless America. Now, if you have any questions.
Yeah, I have a question, Amapola. Are there any sanctuary cities in Florida?
Yes, and Chris Kassler found it. He'll tell us about
I
it.
didn't memorize the list, but it's about a half a dozen, includes Jupiter, Deltona, I believe.
Miami. In Miami too. Miami.
Yeah.
Sanford refused it.
Yeah, Sanford was on the list,
Hooray.
but apparently that was turned down.
Sanford.
I can look it up now, I'll find you something. Do
Yeah.
you have somebody who wants to go there?
No, we just want to stay away.
Want to-
Make sure it's not
Yeah, I'm with you.
Don't send your children to college or your grandchildren to college near a sanctuary city. It's a danger. Any other questions?
I have another one if nobody else does. You mentioned that your blind sister, her ballot was manipulated?
Yes, what happened? They would not allow me to go into the booth to vote for her. They directed us to the computer, and I went to the computer. I said, even though I'm not blind, but they said, no, you go to the computer. And I put in her ballot, Mitt Romney, and it was blank, but her name, address, everything was taken, and it was in there. So I did it twice, and she said, I complained. I said, it's not taking my vote. Do it again, and then disappeared, the same lady. And so I could not complain anymore. I did it 2 more times, and it never took it. So we left disappointed because my sister had not voted. But someone told us later, oh yes, that's the George Soros computer, and it's only programmed to accept Obama's vote.
Could you tell where that happened?
Castleberry, in Castleberry, Florida. Yes.
Okay, I have the list. Florida, Deleon Springs, Deltona, Jupiter, Lake Worth, and Miami.
Yeah. There is a remarkable difference between a legal and an illegal immigrant, and the legal immigrant is usually someone who went to school, private schools, was well educated, comes from families that are better educated, and they obey the law and fall in love with America. That's most of us. But the illegal, they come in to ask for benefits. They don't fall in love with America. They don't like the people. They don't like the country. They flag the Mexican flag, and they don't even like legal immigrants of Hispanic background. The toughest people to work with when I was young were the illegal immigrants. They picked on me terribly.
What does a city like Deltona or Deleon Springs, how do they benefit, and how does that get started being a funny?
I don't know how they benefit particularly, but I do know that it's usually a misguided liberal policy because we don't want anybody to suffer, and this is a country composed of immigrants, and the laws are unfair to actually expect us to deport somebody who's here illegally. That's unfair.
Well, they have Democrat Luis Gutierrez of Illinois, and he has done a tremendous job in Washington fighting for benefits for the illegals. And he always misrepresents us, that we are with him, and that it's a lie. We're not with him. We're against those policies.
May I add to this? The concept of a sanctuary city, I think, is rooted in the medieval notion that someone on the run from the law could take sanctuary in a church. Okay, and as long as they stayed in the church, they were safe. And so this concept is to provide a safe haven for illegals. But I would point out that this issue is overshadowed, eclipsed by what's going on with the administration bringing in refugees. So when you bring in somebody who's called a refugee, they get automatic status. They're automatically legal. They get automatic access to benefits that even legal immigrants can't get. I mean, it's outrageous. So the numbers of illegal, if you will, or refugees is far greater than any problem that we're facing now with the illegals who are taking sanctuary.
5 years.
5 years what, Jim?
They can vote.
Oh,
That's all that is
theoretically, they
required.
can vote in
5 years. As residents, you're to be a resident when you come in here legally or seek political asylum, so you're legal. You have 5 years as a resident, and then you can go apply for citizenship and vote.
And vote.
And then vote.
Well, we're being overwhelmed with this. This is a flood. This is an invasion.
It's an invasion. I do not know how the president, the next president of the United States will handle it. But thank you very much. You are great people. God bless you. God bless the United States.
What is your website again?
GoLifa.com. The more people we have, the more we can represent you in Washington. Even today, there was in Facebook 100 illegal immigrants calling bad names to Donald Trump and saying, "You are cruel, mean, and horrendous." And I answered back and said, "Legal immigrants for America love America, and we believe he's defending the rights of the illegal and American-born citizens. So we are for the rule of law." Sorry, you have to go home and come back legally.
Very good.
Thank you for opening my eyes and others. You've done for me what Donald Trump did on the immigration thing. I mean, you may not love him, but he at least brought it to the surface.
I do love him
And you've
because-
made us aware.
Thank you. I do love him because, precisely because of that, because most politicians did not want to even go near the issue. They did not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And then he comes, and he caused it to be in the forefront. So I say thank you. Thank you.
If you could just wait.
Very good. Thank you, Amapola.